everybody. How we doing tonight? We're gonna have kind of a different show. We're gonna do things a little bit willy-nilly because we haven't tried this before. It'll be our first little live attempt at doing this. But we have our regular guest, Michael from the Peña Prospective, and then he also brought a friend with him as well, Junior. And we're gonna try to do a little bit of translating and talking and getting to know each other with the language barrier. And Michael's gonna help us out with.
Why is there a language barrier? You and I talking English the entire time. What's the problem?
My neglect to know the Portuguese language. I know a few. I dabble in a few languages. I dabble with German. I dabble with Spanish, Finnish. English is easy, of course, but I haven't gotten to Portuguese yet.
I had to get to Portuguese whenever I came down here. So yeah, we're in Brazil, and that's the main thing. So today's focus is going to be. We got to
start with our regular casualties. Junior, how are you doing today?
Which?
Ask him how he's doing, and ask him.
He's doing well, thank God.
Good. And Michael, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's not as cold as what it was yesterday, but loving it. Even though it's winter, I'm outdoors basically, my outdoor studio, and life's good. I cannot complain.
I'm glad you guys were able to go live with all the wildness going on.
Oh yeah, we had the transformer going down beforehand. I didn't know if I was actually going to have light for my internet connection, but they came by, they fixed it, and it got done. And so we're back up 100%.
I don't think I've ever seen a transformer in the U.S. get fixed that quickly. I mean, it literally happened while we were sitting here talking. It was interesting.
Yeah, we were talking. It blew. Somebody reported it. They came. They fixed it, and now we're good. So yeah, it's other times it's been more damage and longer time. We've been an entire evening without. You wake up the next morning, maybe you'll have light. But that's infrequent. Yeah, the transformer is going out with more frequency than I'm used to. But like you saw today, they fix it pretty damn quick, so I can't really complain. That's good.
So, how do you guys want to start this off? We can. I would like to know a little bit about juniors growing up in South America. What kind of schools they have in the area. Just some of the beginning basics of his life.
Foods.
Schools.
Que tipo de escolas tem na região? E esse tipo de coisa.
Bom, meu amigo, é um prazer de início estar comunicando com vocês.
It's a good beginning to be talking to you.
Eu faço parte de um grupo de brasileiros que teve acesso a boa educação que os pais pagavam para ter. Isso não significa que a educação pública que o Estado fornecia é ruim. Muitas pessoas boas saíram, inclusive, de colégios públicos. Eu fiz parte só no início da educação pública, porque meus pais eles começaram a ficar bem financeiramente e me proporcionaram uma educação paga.
He's lucky that he was able to get that private education. Is the private education a lot different than the public?
A educação particular é muito diferente que a pública.
Meu tempo eu era gritante, por exemplo, eu tive acesso a computador quando os demais não tinham.
It was very stark, the contrast. He had access to a computer when nobody else did.
For example.
No, that's a great thing to have, especially I don't even know if you could operate in modern day schooling without a computer.
Aqui o colégio público, a pessoa que convivia numa família só foi ter mais tarde, e eu tive o privilégio de ter antes.
That he had a computer before other people did.
So, can you ask if he did any sports growing up in school or anything like that?
Sempre participei de diversos esportes.
He always played lots of different sports.
Eu fazia judô.
He would do judo.
Futebol.
Soccer.
Era goleiro do futebol.
He was a goalie in soccer. In handball.
Xadrezista.
He plays a lot of chess. Close to being a chess
Sempre
master.
Gostei.
He always liked sports.
Isso, a gente aqui foi criado no meio de vários esportes.
Here he was raised among lots of different types of sports.
Competição entre colégios.
Competition among schools.
Any musical instruments in school or anything like that?
No, he's horrible at that.
No. Well, what did you start doing for work when you were growing up? What was maybe your first job or occupation?
Eu trabalhei desde cedo.
He started working early.
Eu sou de uma família empreendedora e isso é incentivado dentro da minha família.
So he was motivated to get out and do things. Que idade?
Com 12 anos eu ficava no caixa do bar.
12 years old, he'd be, as a cashier at the bar, for example.
Okay.
Qual foi o teu primeiro emprego?
Eu só tive a carteira assinada depois dos 28 anos de idade.
No, he only had his legal job with his actual work book signed when he was 28 years old.
Isso,
He wasn't really interested in that. Mud Rabbit, thank you. Hello, how you doing? Welcome.
A gente faz parte, que é uma tradição até meio familiar. Que tá
we were all part of it. It was a tradition, a family tradition. We all did
não posso falar, inclusive, por todos. Eu falo só por mim.
He can't say for everyone. He's talking about, what he lived, what he did.
Yeah.
Sim, exatamente isso.
So, was he working to survive and try to help support the family, or was it something where he actually enjoyed his job, or was it more of a chore?
Eu sempre tratei isso com uma tranquilidade,
mas
por uma vontade
freely. More of a free will, spontaneity.
Nunca foi sacrifício fazer.
It wasn't ever a sacrifice to do what he did. Yeah, Mud Rabbit, we're doing Brazil and the U.S. tonight. Hope I can help you keep up. It's Jake and Junior tonight, and I'm just in the middle with my opinions.
And we're stuck in the middle with you. All right. Perfect.
All right. Tem uma música presa no meio contigo, porque na verdade é uma entrevista entre o Jake e você, e eu estou no meio. Então ele falou, estou preso no meio contigo.
Mas tu tem que fazer as traduções.
Yeah, I've got to do the translations and that sort of thing.
O que mais ele quer saber a meu respeito?
So, what else do you want to know about him?
Well, so when did you ever have a point where you had to leave your family home and move on to a different home, or do you guys still? I don't know how your living situation is. I was just curious if you guys moved to a bigger place, or if you had any moving, or if you've just grown up in the same area, kind of.
Eu só saí de casa mesmo depois de terminar a faculdade.
He only left home after he left college.
Isso foi com 25 anos
That was
de
when
idade.
he was 25 years old.
What did you go to college for?
He's a lawyer.
E foi sem obrigação. A minha mãe falou, se quiser ficar, fica.
And he left of his own free will. His mom said if he wanted to stay there
Nem
longer,
eu me senti obrigado. Eu fiz porque eu quis.
He didn't feel any obligation, or anything else. He left because he wanted to. He wanted to have his own place. Tu queria ter teu próprio lar.
Mesma cidade, já morando sozinho.
The same city, but living on his own.
Was his family sad to see him go?
Tua família estava triste de te ver partir?
Não, eles sempre me apoiaram, eles sempre tiveram junto.
They were always supportive and they were always close by.
Good.
Não é porque a gente sai de casa que a gente se desconecta.
It's not because we leave home that we disconnect.
That's true. No, yeah, you gotta stop. You gotta stop communicating to disconnect. The lines have to go dry somewhere.
Exactly. There's a lot of depth in the basic Brazilian culture, which I enjoyed. Now, they're changing, and they've changed over the last 20 years. And there were lots of things about here that I wanted to learn because things in Brazil aren't as easy as what they are in the States, but people are happy somehow. And I wanted to know why they were happy because I was busting my ass in the U.S. competing and getting everything else. But you're not happy. You got one friend, maybe if you got time for that. But, it's the grunge and the grind of every day, and you're not necessarily happy. So what is it that makes people happy in life? Now, that's why I always listen to people to find out what they were complaining about, what they could have changed or made better in their lives and that sort of thing, looking for that eventually. And here in Brazil, it kind of found that the culture allowed for that, but they're starting to forget some of those things that they had already. You're just showing off with the Dr. Pepper, aren't you?
Oh, I didn't even mean to flash it. No, what I was just getting ready.
You're triggering me, man. Get real. You're triggering me.
My bad. I apologize. I didn't think about it. I got to be more sensitive.
Once a pepper, always a pepper, buddy. Kudos. But yeah, there are things about Brazil, and they don't even notice it sometimes because it's cultural. It's ingrained, especially in this area. And so those deeper things like he just got through talking about, that's fucking natural. Which is why he's over here and we have a conversation and he's trying to help me finish my book. And lots of my videos were because of questions that he made me, which is why my videos are in Portuguese. Mud Rabbit, you got questions for me? Ask me and I'll make a video for you in English about it. I just need people asking me questions and I'll make something about it. This guy's responsible for 3 or 4 of the videos that I have on my channel because he asked me a question and I answered it. Our Tuesdays are supposed to be in Portuguese so that we can talk about questions that he has that we still haven't covered. Estou batendo na tecla do episódio 2, do 5 que ainda não fizemos.
Okay. But 90% é teu mesmo.
He says 90% of it is mine anyway. Okay. So getting back to me in the middle.
I wanted to ask you with what we were just talking about. Because I seem to notice people think that changing location might make things better, as if you couldn't make things better in your own place that you're at. Do you feel like it helped you find that personal comfort and happiness, or do you think it was just easier to find it there?
He's done some experiments in that area.
I was asking both of you.
I know, and I'll ask you a question, but I have to translate. He left Joinville once.
Eu fui para Fortaleza, Ceará.
He went to Fortaleza, the north of Brazil, really close to the equator.
E fiquei 4 meses lá e acabei sendo puxado de volta para Joinville, sem querer, sem fazer planejamento nenhum.
He was there for 4 months and he was pulled back to Joinville for where he needed to. Yeah, not all countries are like Brazil, Mud Rabbit. Brazil's actually pretty fucking awesome, which is why I've been here for 24 years. It's, Lebanon's been rough for a while. Ela tem família de Lebanon. Então, é uma pessoa que está no chat, então o chat aparece ali. A Mud Rabbit tem família de Lebanon.
Tem gente comentando?
Ela está comentando o nosso vídeo agora.
Isso, que legal. Qual é o comentário dela mesmo?
Então, Junior, you gotta say hi.
Dela é Mud Rabbit.
E qual é o comentário que foi feito?
Não, é que ela não sabe como realmente questionar como é a vida das pessoas ou como a vida pode ser tão pior para pessoas.
Não, mas aproveita, fale lá, aproveita. Okay. E agora que você tem um brasileiro aqui com sinceridade respondendo só.
Now it's him to Mud Rabbit saying, take advantage. You've got somebody from another country, so ask any question that you want to ask. Absolutely, Mud Rabbit. Junior is saying, let her rip. So we're there, participating.
There's a little delay, so hopefully she gets it and she can come up with a question for you to kind of understand the difference, at least in what you know about Brazil, because I mean, like we were talking about, you can only give your own
about changing. The question you were asking about changing perspective, changing places and locations.
Do you think it's necessary to find happiness? Because I feel like a lot of people do, or do you think it just helps you come to it in certain locations?
In my case, I built mine.
Could you have built it anywhere?
I couldn't have my trees anywhere else. I couldn't have my tropical birds coming to visit me every day if I lived anywhere else. So there are some things that would not be possible. My bougainvillea trees are huge. I mean, we think of them as flower bushes, but they're freaking trees. I mean, they're vines. They take over other things as well. But the thing is that all my neighbors and everybody outside my land got to see the flowers. Olá, Júnior. O ex-marido dela tem família no Brasil, em Capinápolis. A Resistência Jean, a empresa Resistência Jean, tinham lá.
Não estou entendendo.
I don't know what the Resistência gene is. Is that a gene? Eu acho que
I think it's a gene designer.
Indústria de jeans, mas Capinópolis é onde? Em que estado?
He wants to know what state Capinópolis would be, because after all, Brazil has 24 states, and it's a pretty big. Actually, Brazil is almost as big as the U.S., excluding Alaska. Eles faziam jeans.
Fazemos aqui também, tem jeans.
Por isso que está dizendo, essa empresa lá fazia os jeans.
Legal.
Onde eu estava.
Here, I pulled it back up if you want to see the spelling of it.
In
Minas Gerais.
Oh, that's in Minas Gerais. All right, that's.
Aqui no sul também tem fábrica de jeans.
But here in the south, we also have a big textile industry as well, and they have jean factories down here in the south.
Minas Gerais é lindo por outras coisas mais.
Minas Gerais is beautiful for other reasons.
It's a característica do Cerrado.
The characteristic Rua Pedro. That would be a street. Rua is actually street in Portuguese. Exactly. See, Minas Gerais. That place is beautiful. It's not as tropical. You think of it more of a savanna from Africa, that kind of thing, or the north of Mexico. When I was there, it reminded me a lot of Mexico, the culture and the way people treated each other. It has to do with their survival skills, the dry climate, what you do to get along. And different places with different needs have different mentalities. For example, if I'd go up to New York or Boston, I couldn't walk down the street and go, "Howdy, good morning." People thought I was fucking nuts. So yeah, it depends on where you go. And the fact that I'd be walking on the street in California would already mark me as nuts, because nobody walks, everybody drives everywhere. So, each place has its thing, and it's finding out where you resonate best with and being free and tranquil. Wherever you're able to be free is what I look for. And I created mine. I don't leave this little compound of mine, because in here I'm free. Outside of this compound, I have to follow everybody else's rules.
That's true. It's one of the stipulations, even in a place where you think you're free.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And they're relatively free. I mean, we live in a country that they call the Brazilian Trump, right? Tem muitos lebaneses onde eles moram, lá em Minas Gerais. Porque também tem família que é de Lebanon.
Minha irmã mais velha é casada com um pessoal que é sírio-libanês aqui.
His older sister is married to someone who is Lebanese. Como está a situação econômica aqui?
Depende, né? Relativo. Né?
The economic situation depends. It's relative.
Nós vivemos ainda com muita abundância.
We've got lots of abundance.
Mas há outras partes que a gente sente, a gente vê o sofrimento.
We feel it, that they're suffering a lot. Tipo, quais outras partes estão sofrendo?
O norte e o nordeste sofrem mais do que o sul.
The northeast are always suffering more than what we do down here in the south.
E posso ser mais específico que centros, cidades concentram maior pobreza.
We can't be more specific other than the center of cities is where you concentrate the largest amount of poverty.
É relativo, porque uns precisam pouco, com amor e com ajuda, a comunidade se respeita e se
respect, and community comes together and they can, pick themselves up, and others need.
Isso é a vontade de toda pessoa de bem, pelo menos. Não é preciso muita riqueza.
You need the willpower of people that want good for others, not necessarily riches.
That's a good way to think. I mean,
people working together. It's not how much you can give; it's how much you can give. It's your time, it's your effort. It's not how much cash you're going to throw for somebody else's time and effort. No, it's everybody pulls together and they make the community grow. See, that's where we're talking about the fiat currency and Bitcoin and everything else yesterday. Whenever everybody's helping everybody, that's when things go. And money is supposed to represent somebody else's work or effort or knowledge or something else.
But I don't know if it necessarily should, because that's what me and the last guest that I had on earlier, who I know you're going to get a chance to meet, Mark. You'll get a chance.
I'm going to want to talk to him a lot.
But we were talking about the fact that at the end of the show, we were like, that's how we try to solve problems. Throw money at the problem until it goes away. And
because it's all about resonance. You got to love them, not just throw money on them. It's teaching them how to fish, not just giving them fish. What Michael McIntosh was talking about the other night. No, he's not going to toss me any cash that he got from Bitcoin because he's telling us how he made his cash. Get the fuck into Bitcoin. Fine. So he's teaching us how to fish. But we got to do that for others. And you can't do that just going, oh, yeah, I threw 5 bags of rice to Africa, so the hungry people there are fed. I can feel good about myself. No, because there are hungry people in your town, in your neighborhood, that you can help. It's a lot easier to throw 5 bags of rice to another continent and think you're doing something when you walk by the guy that's, next to the bank or outside the supermarket, and you avert your gaze and you try not to watch the guy because, oh man, I didn't want to see another homeless guy. No, don't bother me. That's the person that you should be feeding. If you got that 25 cents a day for some starving kid in Africa to where they'll get less than 5 cents because the rest of that will be taken up on, transportation and administrative costs. When you can actually take that down to the corner and actually help somebody real. And that resonance, that smile that they give you, that recognition that they give you, you feel, it makes you feel better, really, because you are actually really helping somebody else. And that's the objective of life. That's why there's no law written against that, because that is what we should do all the time. But it's tough because we're stuck.
I think we make it seem tough. I think we think about it the wrong way, like you're trying to change the world. If everybody worked on their immediate surroundings or themselves, then that would make all the difference across the world.
Trying to change yourself. You start with yourself in the change. That's what he said. Yeah. Yeah, that's little dude, he's got some kind of home, or he's got to have some kind of home. Little dude, depends on that age. He's got to have parents. Anyway, or maybe he's a small person. Não, que foi a pergunta que eles não tentam evitar. Ela não tenta evitar os mendigos da rua, esse tipo de coisa. Tanto que tem que mora lá atrás do lixeiro comunal, lá na região, que todo mundo na comunidade ajuda aquele indivíduo.
É assim que deve ser.
Yeah, that's how we should do. Help community, help each other out. There's somebody around you that needs it. Ok, sim, que falou uma pessoa diminutiva, não sabia se era uma criança ou não. Então, é uma pessoa idosa, mas baixinho, tá? Por isso que falou gente pequena. Então, cara pequeno. Yeah,
I mean, being in the Chicagoland area, the closer you get to Chicago, you start seeing people sleeping under bridges. You start seeing, I mean, and you're talking piles of blankets just because of how cold it gets. There's not enough places. Well, there are enough places, but we're trying to places.
Yeah.
Pessoas ajudando e dando sopa, imagino.
Yeah, people helping, but also people punching other people out. They both exist. What you're describing is what created the favelas here in Brazil. People that didn't have money to buy absolutely anything, so they put a couple of tinfoil, not tinfoil, but think about like those tin plates that you put like on the side of barns and shit. They put 2 or 3 of those together, a couple of pieces of wood, and boom, they're under that, and all of a sudden they build stuff on top of that, and you got an entire shanty town.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Mud Rabbit.
Yes, todo bem.
They flock like the geese. They know where to
go.
I've always stayed in Fort Lauderdale for a good amount of time. I was a landscaper out in Fort Lauderdale for a guy that owns a company here in my town, and flew me out to Florida because there's no landscapers out there. But the homeless population out there is insane, and Fort Lauderdale was a great example of it because they had the filthy rich butted right up against the dirt poor, and so you had the strangest combinations of people.
Well, you got that in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. That's one of the things that Junior was talking about. Here in the South, we really don't have that bad of a problem. But in Sao Paulo, you've got the shanty towns right next to really high stakes, snobby areas. You can't drive from one area to the other in Rio de Janeiro without, there are some people that they're afraid of getting into the middle of the shootout on their way to work.
That whole county is very fun, Mud Rabbit.
I always dreamed of going there when I was in college.
Howard County or Broward County? No, not Broward. It's either Howard or Broward, or I can't remember.
That would be Broward, but that's also got resonating election things in the past. Wasn't Broward County one of the ones where they had the hanging chads and shit?
Oh, They also had a homeless guy get his arm partially chewed up by a guy that was on bath salts. I don't know how many Florida man stories I've heard. There's a lot of Florida man stories.
You want to know about Florida? I mean, Florida was the only place that I ever was taken care of by a geriatric person. I mean, this guy had to be 72 years old, and he was taking my order at McDonald's. I mean, I just crossed the state line, and all of a sudden, the first McDonald's we get to. What does Wasserman Schultz, that skank, have to do with George Bush's hanging chads and Oliphant, the guy that loves kids?
Good old Brenda.
Those are like 3 different messages. Those are 3 different messages there that I was curious about. So yeah, we'd have to get deeper into those, Mud Rabbit. Yeah. The rest of what? Because we're all in the same world. The problem is what reality we create for ourselves.
Vocês ainda estão falando sobre a pobreza?
Não, agora estamos falando mais como a política, que muitos têm problemas de política, não podemos eliminar a política. Que é problemático, sim.
Tem coisa que não quero nem mudar.
There are some things that
querer parar a corrente de água lá, tu querer fazer a mudança do curso da água.
The flow of the water change. I mean, how are you going to change the course of the water itself? You can't. There are some things that you just let be. That was Junior's perspective, not mine. So.
I'll tell Junior that's a great perspective because the water's just going to correct itself over time. Nature always reverts back. But yeah, what do you guys what are the politics like in Brazil? Do you guys have a voting system? I don't know enough about the politics out there.
We were actually talking about that before we got on with you. Because there was a situation that he was telling me about in 2014, 2016, 2016 when we got the president that we have now. Yeah, DSW, she's your congresswoman? Shit, she should be in Gitmo. Anyway, Oliphant, yeah, elections. Okay, that was a whole nother reference.
At least you guys got a decent governor. I got JB Pritzker. I mean, there's other things that you could be upset about. You guys have a really good governor, one of the best governors in Florida. So, that's
however, Junior wanted to get in and on some of that. We were talking about the elections beforehand. And que ele está perguntando sobre o sistema das eleições aqui, comparado com... Porque nós estamos falando sobre os hanging chads, que foi a eleição de Bush contra Gore, onde tiveram que contar. Não, mas achamos que este votou deste jeito, a máquina não contou. E vocês zoaram porque ainda estávamos usando cartões físicos quando vocês já estavam eletrônicos. Mas depois você estava conversando comigo sobre o eletrônico. Getting up to date, for example, in Brazil, they used to make fun of us because during that election in 2000, which is I was already here, I got to Brazil in 97. So in the election in 2000, the Brazilians were making fun of us because we were trying to figure out who the leader of the free world was going to be depending on hanging chads. And they're like, you're still doing physical ballots. We're doing digital ballots. We go in and press a button and our vote's counted electronically, automatically, and we're so much more advanced than you guys. And I was sitting there going, yeah, but can somebody hack your system or not? No, that got it. Okay, whatever. So they were making fun of our physical ballots. Now,
alguém aí duvida se houve fraude?
Eu não sei se eu posso perguntar isso. He says, does anyone here doubt that there was any fraud?
Vocês estão perguntando como é que é o sistema eleitoral aqui?
Because he's asking if we're wondering about the electoral system here in Brazil, and it's what we were talking about beforehand.
Yeah.
We handed it to him, and it's like they were talking about. That system was developed for Venezuela, but it was a counting system that's been implemented throughout Latin America. And so when Brazilians were thinking that they were so far advanced because that was electronic voting system, they were the first ones to have their votes manipulated to where we had presidents that we shouldn't have fucking had. And that has had a devastating effect for at least 10, 12 years, if not more. So but that's not what I was talking to him about. He was actually talking about how they were we're requiring here in Brazil that they print out, whenever you push the button on the electronic ballot, it prints out your vote and that vote drops into a bin so that it can be audited later on because they want to make sure. You can't take the vote with you because in the past in Brazil, you would have bosses that would require you to vote for their candidate. And so you would have to turn in your slip to them to prove that you voted the way the company wanted you to vote. So they don't really want individuals to go home with their proof because that's already been abused in the past. But now they're seeing, because of the U.S. elections, that they have to have a way to audit it. So the next elections are going to have a printed receipt of your vote that will go into an auditable bin after the elections, if anybody questions it and that sort of thing. Why? Because everybody wants to be able to have their voice heard.
Well, there's no reason you can't have a double check on everything too. I mean, and it secures people's mindset about it. There's no conspiracy theories going on if you can actually have a check and balance system.
So he's waiting for his turn to speak. So
that's what I'm responding to both of you guys. No, you're fine.
Eu nunca precisei na minha vida de prova alguma ou comprovação para saber que existia corrupção.
To know that there was corruption.
Okay.
In his entire life, he's never had to have proof to know that there's corruption.
Eu nunca precisei de prova, mas agora para provar que houve fraude.
He never needed proof. But now to prove that there was fraud,
se existe, coloca todos esses argumentos simplesmente para falar não há fraude.
Simply to say that
só que é uma certeza, assim como a gente sempre teve que existe corrupção.
Certainty that we've always known that exists, that there is fraud.
Independentemente de fato, independentemente de qual foi, qual é, sempre foi uma verdade.
It was always a reality.
Há corrupção e há fraude.
There is corruption, and there continues to be corruption. Yeah, good points.
Mas também há as pessoas de bem e as pessoas que querem mais transparência.
He's saying that, the way that we need to do that is to have more transparency. The more transparent the process, the less corruption you're going to have. You're looking for a dignified evolution to a better system. His words, not mine. He's a lawyer. He speaks better.
Aos dois lados da moeda. Isso é uma certeza.
Both sides of the coin. You can be absolutely sure.
I think going off of what Mud Rabbit was saying, I do think Reagan slipped in there, and he played that actor card just like Trump did. I think he was more of a fan favorite, and that definitely helped him win the vote.
I don't know much about Nixon, but I know that after JFK was proof that the deep state had control of everything. So after that, they're not elected, they're selected. That's what we're trying to get out of, because that's what, the feudal system was in the mid-16th century in Europe.
And think about it, Michael, some of the people that we're talking to, that's the same narrative that they're giving us too, is most of these presidents are predetermined.
Yeah. Because they're recognizing the truth.
Yeah.
But where's our voice? If we're supposed to have a voice, then we're all living in lies. And that is where we cannot be. If we know, like he knows, it's corrupt, fuck it. We know they're all fucked, so we're not going to listen to them. When I got here, 50% of the economy was illegal or undocumented. Why? Because there's so many taxes and everything else here that people prefer to live in the margins, not paying their thing to the government or not even letting the government know what they're doing, because the government just takes too damn much. So you got 50% of the population that 20 years ago that preferred to live outside of the government's economic system. And that's what happens. If you know corruption exists, you don't trust in the system, you don't integrate into it. In the US, they did different. We trust the system, so we go into it hook, line, and fucking sinker. And to find out that they're as corrupt as everybody else,
eu acho que o mundo inteiro está sofrendo do mesmo mal.
He says the entire world is suffering from the same
era só aqui no Brasil que acontecia.
Before it was just here in Brazil that the corruption happened. Now it's not. It's everywhere. We see it everywhere. And that's what we need to fight against.
Sempre foi uma certeza.
Castellanos. Okay. Castellano is who speaks Spanish. So cool. Either that or that's a family name of somebody powerful that I don't know, and I wouldn't necessarily want to know. Powerful people are dangerous. It's like knowing something against, Hillary. it's best not to know. You're safer that way.
True. Ignorance is bliss.
I've got my little area, and I'm doing what I can with it. Oh, yeah, that's definitely not.
Máfia.
Okay, yeah, ela trabalhava por 11
anos. That's definitely powerful. And we'll just
and in Florida, they're never there, right?
No.
Não tem nada de máfia.
Got a lot of boats. And especially in South Florida.
Ingenuidade seria, né, pensar que não existe.
It'd be ingenuous.
Aí sim tá na fantasia, sendo negacionista.
Then you would be in the fantasy realm of negating everything if you believe that there were no high-tier mafia people in Florida. You'd be delusional at that point, right? His point. But, yeah, Florida's a good state. Now, you were with them for 11 years, so how deep are you in that with Mud Rabbit? But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. God, we got to get her on to talk along with it. Okay, yeah, but you got to know what their thought process was, right? Definitely. Mud Rabbit's got to come on and talk, man. She's got to.
Pede pro Jake anunciar de novo para fazer pergunta pro Júnior.
Okay, so ask again questions for Junior. He's wanting to answer more stuff about Brazil.
Well, I still want to.
We're getting questions from you and Mud Rabbit. This goes out to you and Mud Rabbit and whoever else is in chat. I didn't open up chat to see who's there. But yeah, let's find out what you want to know from Brazil.
But I still want to talk more about the politics. So, do you guys have any plans towards changing the system from electronic to something else?
Para mudar o sistema de voto eletrônico?
Há processo legislativo ocorrendo neste momento.
There's a legal process occurring
right now. Está suspenso porque as férias deles.
Because they're on holidays, vacations.
Nossos congressistas, né? As férias dos congressistas.
Work, have more vacations than work.
Deles,
So they're in recess right now.
Eles têm 2 por ano ainda.
They have 2 per year.
Enquanto a maior parte do povo não tem descanso.
The majority of the population can't rest at all, ever.
Mas existe processo.
But there is a legal process.
Que é encabeçado pelo próprio presidente da República.
That is being headed by the president.
De tornar mais transparente
to make everything more
nosso processo legislativo.
To make the legal process more
recibo que cai numa urna.
The receipt of your vote that falls
para poder haver uma recontagem, que hoje não existe essa possibilidade.
Because today you can't recount the votes. It's all digital. There is no physical way to audit the vote here in Brazil today.
Essa é a verdade.
Now the president is trying to pass a law that will make a printed receipt of your vote.
E a maior parte da população saindo às ruas para justamente pedir que se aprovem.
Exactly to
só que seja auditável, porque hoje não tem como auditar.
Of our vote, to be able to audit the vote, because today we can't audit the vote.
Is there a public argument against it that it would be more intrusive to people to have to get more identification or something?
Seria impedir a privacidade deles de alguma forma?
Não, o processo não vai identificar.
The process isn't going to identify who made the
Continua sendo secreto.
It continues to be a secretive vote.
E ninguém leva recibo para casa.
Nobody takes a receipt home.
Aí que a gente quer a impressão caia numa urna lacrada.
To fall into a sealed urn, so that they can audit.
Hoje é só números no computador.
Today it's just numbers in the computer, and nobody can audit that.
Interesting.
Interessante isso.
Because it makes me wonder, how much they want to change the system. If the politicians know it needs to be changed, I don't know why the people have to, push like that.
A classe política ela é pressionada pela população.
The political class is pressured by the population.
Elas são impulsionadas de certa forma.
So if the population takes a stance, the political class must.
O povo brasileiro, inclusive, está acordando cada vez mais.
And the Brazilian people are waking up every day precisely to that reality.
That's great. No, it's good that they know that they have that power and that ability to gather like that, because not all countries have the ability to gather and have an influence on their government.
Nesse sentido, a sociedade está evoluindo.
Our society
está se dando mais ao respeito.
Learning more in response to that. The audits are going
essas exigências são por clamor popular.
Those demands are because of popular demands. The population has been demanding these things, so the political class has had to do it. Para traduzir, I'm translating Mud Rabbit's question to Junior into Portuguese. Parece que a auditoria nos Estados Unidos está espalhando de estado a estado. Ela quer saber por quanto tempo os representantes de outros países vão começar a ver como funciona. Ou seja, as auditorias das eleições americanas e toda a falcatruagem, quanto vai demorar para os outros países perceber que tem falcatruagem ali também?
A gente já percebeu antes de acontecer a eleição de vocês, mas...
We already figured it out here in Brazil well before the 2020 election. We've been waking up.
É como aquela certeza de que a água vai correr e...
It's like being sure that water is going to flow. You know?
Já sabia-se antes, né? Em 2014 a gente já
2014
aconteceu aqui.
That already happened here, and he was telling me about that with the elections of Dilma Rousseff. Let me translate. Hold on a minute. Traduzindo, o grande acordar está acontecendo no mundo inteiro.
A gente espera que sim, a gente torce para que cada vez mais as pessoas se iluminem.
For a great awakening worldwide, absolutely, definitely. We hope that is a reality.
Well, and that's why I'm glad. That's why I'm glad the people of Brazil have that against their government, where they can actually gather and be able to do that. Because that's just like Mud Rabbit was saying about Lebanon. There's a lot of other countries that don't have that kind of freedoms or ability right now. Lebanon, Egypt, there's quite a few.
Argentina, you can as well. They're already taken over by Chinese.
Se eu puder fazer exercício assim, pessoal.
He wants to do a personal exercise.
Se me permitir.
If we allow him to.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, as long as it's YouTube appropriate.
Eu recebi convite para fazer esse canal. Para conversar esse dia, eu fiz uma pergunta simples.
He received an invite to come on and be able to do this show today.
Se eu fosse viajar para lá, se ele poderia me receber lá.
If he were to travel to there, would you receive him there?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I already told you yes.
Deu beleza que podia vir.
And when you said yes, he could go.
Isso daí eu aceitei fazer, por exemplo,
that's
esse vídeo.
One thing that's one of the reasons why he accepted to do this video.
Que daí eu vi que era uma pessoa boa, porque se falasse não, mas isso não rola.
Oh yeah, I say this. That's how I want to make sure Junior knows. That's how I am. I say the same things offline as I do online.
Exatamente, é por isso que eu boto já sou subscrito do seu canal. Acho que as pessoas deveriam seguir esse tipo de
subscriber to your channel, and people should follow people like you.
No, I'm glad you came on today, and I'm glad you wanted to do this show with us.
It's a simple exercise of how you can communicate for good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Em vez de falar de quanto é corrupto e nojento o mundo, a gente tem que fazer outro traço para outro lado, uma outra vertente, para coisas boas que acontecem na vida.
Making good things happen in good directions. But Mud Rabbits and Junior's comments are two rainbowy unicorns and flowers out there. I prefer to prepare for demons coming out of the wall because they're there and they're coming to eat us all. but that's me. I'm just kind of dark on that side. But yeah, Mud Rabbit and Junior are definitely unicorns and rainbows. We should take people in that direction. That's where we should all be and strive to be. Unfortunately, the world isn't necessarily there, but like the Dalai Lama said, be the change you want to see in the world. So we start with us and we influence others to be positive and helpful and generous and everything else. We don't demand our rights from others. We simply are and hope that others reflect that or not, because they are free beings. They have free will. They can do whatever it is they want. We're just an influence. I do what I want, and I try and do what God wants me to do. Not harming others, be kind, be gentle, be helpful. Against these things, there are no laws written. So
just on such a basic level, the main thing I would want out of a society is you don't necessarily have to go out of your way and help everybody. Just don't go out of your way and harm everybody. Because if you...
para ajudar todo mundo, só não faz mal para as pessoas.
I was going to say, yeah, just don't go out and harm everybody. If you can work on yourself to that stance where you're just not intruding on other people's free will or their personal lives, I think the whole society as a whole could be a lot healthier.
Se você sentir que alguém está passando fome e não puder ir lá e dar alimento para ela, dê alimento para ela.
Do that
if you can, why not? But just in a basic sense, if we could just get everybody to not harm others, that would be a step in the right direction.
Aí tem uma questãozinha. A gente sempre vai machucar
As alguém. A lawyer, he says, there we have a small little question because we're always going to harm somebody.
Step one, yeah. I mean,
a gente vai sofrer porque alguém vai nos machucar também.
And he says, just like we're going to suffer because somebody's going to step on us as well. A Mud Rabbit diz que é importante manter-se positivo. Não é fácil, mas é importante. Well, put that back up, Jake.
Necessário.
Mas é importante. Tem muitos pentelhos por lá.
É necessário, mas
it's necessary.
Ninguém está imune a excesso de raiva.
Immune to the excess of anger.
E daí a gente, sem querer, a gente acaba machucando.
Without wanting to, we harm.
Mas se a gente tiver nobreza de pedir desculpa e lá tentar consertar as nossas cagadas, aí sim é um bom serviço.
Try and fix the errors that we made, then yes, that would be a good service. Junior's words. Também ajuda as pessoas a motivar as pessoas para mudar. That's on the influence part of you influencing others. But you can't influence others to do good.
Se não fossem essas pessoas, eu jamais teria essa consciência.
Oh, I loved the Second Amendment too. When I was in Dallas, I was going to get a concealed carry. I don't have one here because I prefer the silent method of eliminating people. Yeah, absolutely. We got to defend ourselves.
So both of my parents have a concealed carry and FOID cards. They've asked me for a long time if I wanted to own a gun. This is where I veer off of most Republicans and stuff like that. I don't think it's necessary to own a gun besides maybe protecting your own household. I don't think there's any reason to walk outside of the house with one, because I think hold on, sorry, I was going to go on a little rant.
Mud Rabbit mencionou sobre a segunda emenda da Constituição, que quer dizer o direito de portar armas. Então ele fala que os pais dele tiveram armas, mas ele não acha
necessário. Fazer o exemplo brasileiro.
Wanted to use a Brazilian example, which they've been disarmed for years.
So the reason I think guns are kind of pointless. The reason I think we had them in the beginning was because of tools and to defend ourselves against the government.
A tragédia familiar aparece com tiro sem querer de uma criança aqui.
Normally, you've got family tragedies of somebody
sem querer,
brincando,
duas crianças brincando,
playing with the gun and shooting
e com somebody. Esse argumento,
the reason the U.S. has guns
from everybody in the country.
No, I know, and that's what I mean. A ban is a bad idea. I understand that. I don't want bans or buybacks. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't think the guns that we have today are going to be able to protect the American citizens from a tyrannous government.
Acontece que o bandido
you're only allowed to get
essa regra.
You're never going to be able to defend yourself.
Acontece que o bandido não obedece essa regra. Só quem obedece é as pessoas de bem.
He's saying the same argument that we have in the States. The problem is that the bad guys don't respect those laws. The only ones who respect those laws are good guys.
Yep.
Which means that
isso torna mais a pessoa de bem ainda mais à mercê. Uma pessoa de mau caráter, bandida, que vai te fazer
bandits mal. And whoever is going to do whatever.
Well, the majority, I would say the majority of murders and shootings in the U.S. are committed by illegal guns or illegal gun owners. That's what I would say the majority of.
I need to translate yours.
Sorry. I would say the majority of shots and murders in the U.S.
E homicídios nos Estados Unidos.
The shots in the U.S. are done by guns that are illegally owned, not ones that are owned by legal gun owners and people with FOID cards. It's like Junior was saying. It's like Junior was saying with the criminals are the ones that are going to.
Criminosos sempre vão ter armas.
A pessoa de bem não vai sair atirando, velho.
A good person isn't going to go out there shooting everybody. Churchill, I thought that was Teddy Roosevelt who said that.
No, Churchill did too.
Okay, well, yeah, good big men have the same perspectives, absolutely.
Flórida?
Está em Flórida, eles invadem suas casas lá. Ou seja, tem pessoas que...
Meu Deus do céu, né, cara?
Holy shit, that's Florida, that's America. How do you have people breaking into your homes in Florida?
Aqui que eu tenho um exemplo de um americano aqui, ele já falou, cara, se alguém tentar entrar na minha casa é degolado.
See, he's got an example of an American here in Brazil, and I've already told him if somebody breaks into my place, I'm chopping their fucking head off. That's why I've got my machete.
I have a feeling.
So he knows that I'm serious, that I'm not playing around, and he's thinking with that kind of mindset, me being an American.
Defenda a propriedade, defenda a família.
How is it that anybody invades anybody in the U.S. because he's assuming that my mindset is predominantly an American mindset? Ela diz que acontece em todo.
Defenda a propriedade, defenda a família.
Yeah, I can confirm that too, Mud Rabbit being close to Chicago. I can confirm that as well.
Yeah, Chicago, New York, LA, you're going to get lugares de maior concentração populacional sempre vai ter. Well, here in Brazil, we've got Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro as examples of population centers that can be extremely violent, so much so that I don't go there anymore. I did. I wanted to, and I wanted to visit him, and I knew him, and I went, and I worked there for a while and sold some stuff, and I know the areas. But to live there, the reduction in quality of life that you have for the access of more money, but you spend more money to be there, so you end up digging your own ditch, and you can't actually get out of there, and you can't use the money that you were supposed to earn there to make your life better somewhere else. It's a vicious cycle that ends up being created. In the meantime, you're not living the quality of life that you wanted or should. And so the objective is trying to find that stability for that quality of life and going on from there. It's not, they're in ela está dizendo que em Flórida tem que ter armas, porque também tem crocodilos e tem veados. Tem que atirar nos veados também.
Também tem isso.
You also got hunting, okay, but here in Brazil that's not too big, because that would be called poaching here.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Puta onça do rebanho no dente.
Now we got pumas.
Não,
we got pumas that we actually scare off, but with our own little weapons, you can't.
I don't like. Yeah, no, I don't like big cats. That's dangerous.
Got those grunges. Yeah, we got those around here. Pode me abastecer ou eu me abasteço?
But I think we got to actually wrap up this one because I got to start prepping for the next one. We're going to be going on at a little after 10.
Eu fui ver a temperatura aqui, eu já comecei a sentir mais frio. 11 graus.
He was looking at the temperature because he started feeling a little bit colder. It's
11 graus. Tem que transformar para Fahrenheit.
Which divide by the 4, that'd be 37 degrees, 38 degrees that we're at right now, kind of.
And that's why you guys got on those winter jackets.
I got that because I don't want to be cold, and it's like you got your air conditioner. You got yours, I got mine. Whatever.
I don't got an air conditioner.
Yeah,
I got a box fan in my window. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, that works too.
My daughter's got an air conditioner in her room, but we don't have.
I've also got metabolism things, so I try and keep myself warmer. I put layers and that sort of stuff. But Mud Rabbit, foi prazer conhecer você. Muito obrigado pela conversa. Foi prazer lá do sul de Flórida.
É recíproco, o prazer é meu.
It's reciprocal. He's also happy to have met you, Mud Rabbit. Definitely. Thank you. Definitely.
No, yeah, we're gonna have to do this again soon. If Junior's down for it, we'll do another one. We'll talk about some of the other current events. I want to hear the follow up of what's going on in Brazil, and he
has fun with you, and it's always something new to do. So yeah, we can do this a few more times, definitely.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later, everybody. Have a good night. Mud Rabbit, thanks for coming.
Thanks so much, Jake. Thanks, Mud Rabbit. Obrigado, Junior. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.